Austin. Hey, congratulations for this documentary, The Mad Writer.
Thank you.
So this documentary is being showcased at Slamdance. So I guess I have to ask that very first question. How do you feel about this documentary being shown as one of the most prestigious film festivals in the world?
Well, I mean, we're obviously thrilled. It's a huge honor to be, screening at Slamdance is, for me personally, a joy because I've loved that festival my whole life, and it really, I think, represents a specific kind of film that I definitely want to be in the company of. So I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled.
Well, I really don't know. I haven't seen the movie. I'm not, it's even when congratulations are offered, I'm hesitant to even think they apply to me because I haven't seen the movie. I was in the movie, but from everything I've looked into Slamdance since I was told that this got accepted, I'm very impressed, and I'm looking forward to finding out why this movie got accepted into such a prestigious festival.
Well, let me ask you this, Austin. Are you planning to see the movie? Because I know like there are like certain movie stars that stars in movies they don't even want to watch their own movies. But are you planning to watch this documentary?
Well, I'm going down to Park City and I'm going to the premiere, and so the first time I see it will probably be there, I imagine. But that's not the same as me wanting to see it.
There's a little trepidation.
There we go. There we go. So, Zach, tell us what sparked you to do this documentary in the first place, and what was the original intention of the documentary?
Sure. Well, honestly, I've known Larange for a long time. He's one of my oldest and best friends, and I've always kind of thought that he would make a great documentary subject. I just think personality-wise, he's very unique and very interesting, and his worldview is very specific to him, and it's something I've always been fascinated by. We used to catch up on the phone, and I would think to myself, there is nobody in the world that thinks like this guy. He's very, very specific, and that's personally what I always love in a documentary, is a subject that's so unique that the only place to see them is in this documentary. The only place to get this is in this film. And I guess that's what I always thought Austin would be, or Larange would be that kind of a American movie, fistful of quarters, King of Kong kind of a subject. And I bugged him for years to let me make a film on him. And he finally said, I mean, he thought it was a bad idea, but finally said I could about a month before I hear from him that he's bleeding from his ear and he didn't know why. So it was fortuitous timing for a film, because suddenly he was really going through something that we could explore and sort of talk about a lot of other things I wanted to discuss about his life through what he was going through in real time in that moment. So it kind of pivoted the film and made it a different thing than we originally intended to make, which was more of a straightforward bio film. And it kind of became more about the specific window of time we were following him, like this 3-year period. But I think it's a better film for it, and a little bit deeper and more complex.
Wow. Larange, tell us what exactly did Zach do to convince you to change your mind for this documentary?
He explained to me not what the movie would be about, but why he wanted to make it in a way that I understood and appreciated his creative vision for it. Because for a very long time, when he would tell me about why he wanted to make it, he was just flattering me, and I don't really take to flattery. Like, it's not going to convince me to do anything. So but once he explained his creative vision for why he wanted to make it, and to sort of like maybe, embrace sort of like a mundane sort of tone to create something that's more sensational, or something that's like interesting out of just someone that he finds interesting. And that made a lot of sense to me. But really, it was just me appreciating and getting on board with his creative vision, and him also agreeing that I would be left out of anything creative or have any effect on the end result, because I'm not really interested in having anything that's just promotional. I'm not interested in seeing a documentary that's just going to make me look awesome and like kind of lie and show only the things that are interesting, or even a documentary on on just a musician, just as Larange. It just wasn't that interesting to me. But the idea of him making a movie, about a person, once it kind of clicked, then I begrudgingly and slowly started giving him more access.
Laurent, I know the documentary kind of went through, into the ideas of, your anxieties and struggles. At any point you wanted to leave this documentary, or you wanted to stick it away all the way through?
Honestly, it was just both. I mean, once I get creatively involved in something, I don't like stopping it. And so my involvement in it was really a sort of an exploration, and just something that I wouldn't be able to do otherwise. I wouldn't be a part of. And I was interested in seeing what he did with everything. So there was never a point when I realistically would have backed out ever. It never crossed my mind in a realistic sense. But in terms of just the anxiety of wanting to leave, I mean, it was every moment of every interview, of every time he was ever there and in between.
Yeah.
Zach, how did you want to approach this documentary? I mean, both it was sort of like a celebration, and it was also a tragedy at both at the same time. How did you want to balance all that out through your storytelling?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think early on, I went through a long period of feeling like I wanted the documentary to be something that it kind of wasn't. Like I was trying to stick a square peg in a round hole. It just felt like I was trying to not be a part of the film. I really didn't want to be in it at all and to hear my voice at all. And so it went through some different stages, and it kind of took me coming to terms with like what we had shot, and trying to lean into what was naturally working about the footage to really kind of figure out what the film should have been the whole time, which was partially like a meta exploration of us making the film. It really became kind of an element in the movie, the fact that we were making a movie on him at all. And so, I hope I answered your question. I don't know if I did. I apologize.
No, you did, and I want to also address because this is technically a music documentary. Could you talk about the music that you inputted into this film?
Absolutely. I mean, you're asking me?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the music was clearly the first thing that drew me to Larange. Obviously, we're old friends, but his music career was the first thing that made me think that there could be a film here, because the music is so good and so unique. And originally, before the ear health concerns, the idea was to explore the dichotomy of a person who was, very insular and didn't have a ton of friends, didn't go out a lot, lived a very quiet life in Nashville, but also was releasing this great music and to a lot of acclaim, and had his music career was starting to take off. And I thought that it was a really interesting dichotomy between those two, sort of like a personality that would run from fame and then is sort of in a career path that's hoping for fame. I thought was really interesting and unique. His music is so good that it became obviously like the backbone of the film, and as it should. And I think that all of the other aspects of his life that we go into in the film is all in support of that. It's all what kind of person would make this music. It's all leading back to that.
Most excellent. Laurent, you know, after watching a documentary like this, I guess a lot of people would have to ask, has your music changed, or your approach to music have changed?
Since the year.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, my processes have. It's probably been the part of my life that I've most easily adapted to with the hearing loss, to be honest, because you know, it was just a part of my life that was very, very important. And so you know, I've found a lot of ways around everything. It's taken me a while to sort of recover, but you know, the hardest, the biggest obstacle of losing your hearing, you know, in later in life is your brain adjusting to it. And so there was a period of time where that was pretty tough for me to be able to sort out you know, what my brain was reacting to be able to trust my ears again. But yeah, no, recently especially, I have a lot of techniques, I have a lot of ways, and I'm enjoying making music a lot right now, actually.
Most excellent. And Zach, I guess it's funny is because when I was watching, I was asking the same question that you were asking, is how do you end a movie like this? So how did you want to decide to end a movie like this? Like when did you know that this is coming to an end?
Well, it has really gone through a lot of stages, this film. So, you know, about 2 years ago, it was like 45 minutes longer and ended in a completely different place. So it was really coming to terms with what was real and what was authentic. And, you know, I'm a film editor that's my profession, and I'm lucky to get to edit on a lot of shows like true crime and streaming shows and stuff. And it's always, it always strikes me that like there's such a story baked into those kind of shows. You immediately know where you're ending most of the time. You sort of from the start of editorial know where you're driving to. And this is not that. This was a real, like you say, like it could end in a lot of different places. It's sort of a open-ended story in that way. And so I wanted it to one thing that was important to me about this film was to have it actually feel like it had a three-act structure and leave you in a different place than you started, and feel like you watched him go through some version of growth. And I'm glad that it feels that way. And I think that's something that I'm really proud of, that the end actually does feel like you are spit out in a different place than you started, and that you were better for the journey. So yeah.
Most excellent. And Laurent, looking back, any regrets about doing this film?
Oh, I mean, yeah. You know, nothing, there's no regrets about what I did. I mean, I haven't seen the movie, you know, but you know, I don't know if regrets is the right word. It's more when I think, would I do it again? Or would I do it over? I don't know if the answer is yes. You know, it was invasive, and it put, you know, a strain on my life in a lot of very specific ways that were kind of hard to explain to people. And it, you know, put a strain on my relationship with Zach, who was originally my friend. And also it was it just, you know, it's a very odd mentality to be watching yourself while someone's watching you. And over time that just sort of you know, has a bit of a strange psychological effect of, you know, whether you're doing a good job of communicating who you are.
And I know you answered this already, but you know, like your fans would probably wonder, especially watching a documentary, is how are you doing now?
I'm doing okay. No, I'm doing okay. You know, it's you know, in terms of my mental health, you know, I'm doing much better than I'm guessing. You know, again, I haven't seen it, but I know where I was in life when we started this, and I'm doing a lot better, and I have a lot of good ways to prioritize my mental health and to keep up with making sure I don't fall into, eras of depression or anxiety or anything like that. But I mean, a lot of that was doubling down on who I am and just sort of accepting that, a lot of these things, if they're not unhealthy, then they might as well be healthy, So, but other than that, my ear is what it is. I have hearing aids now, and that helps me a lot in public. And I'm married. I'm happy.
That is what everybody would love to hear. Well, let me wrap it up with one last question. And I guess this is for Zach to answer, because Larange hasn't seen the movie yet. But as audiences will start watching The Mad Writer, especially at Slamdance and perhaps more, down the road, what is the one most important lesson you hope that people would take away from your film?
Well, I think one of the things that the ear drama, the ear health concerns did for the film was it made it a little bit more universal. I think everybody has something in life that they're very passionate about, and everybody could, on some level, put themselves in Larange's shoes and think about what it would be like if that passion was like existentially threatened in a real way. And so I think overcoming adversity is a universal thing, and people can get a lot out of seeing themselves represented back on screen. And I think in some ways that's something that this film can do.
Well said. Well said. Well, Zach, Larange, thank you very much for carrying this conversation. Larange, hopefully you'll enjoy the film and bond more with Zach, or break apart after the film. We'll soon find out.
Yeah. Wish me luck.
So thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you so much, Kate. Nice.